Hello, warriors. Welcome to the U movement. I am B. And the energy seems to be dissipating a little bit, which is a good thing. And I'm left sitting in ponderance as what feels like death of relationship, or death of my belief around relationships. My last few videos have all been as Kundalini is clearing things out to do with relationships as a construct. The sacral chakra is all to do, and the root is all to do with sexuality. And I did a video the other day talking about sexuality and taking ownership of how I've misused it. And then earlier today, I was talking about love and heart chakra openings and higher heart chakra openings, bringing me into a place of greater capacity for unconditional love. And over the last couple of days, because things have been so intense, I was given the green light from Spirit to go ahead and watch some TV. Now, I don't normally watch a lot of television, but for whatever reason, I was edged into watching the series on Netflix called The Crown. I don't know if you've seen it. When I do watch television, I tend to watch historical British shows for whatever reason. That's been the theme as of late. And I think it is actually all coming together in an understanding of where a lot of my beliefs originate from, because my adoptive mother's history was of British descent. And so the European ideals, British European ideals towards relationship. And so I've been watching some of these historical shows, and even like The Crown specifically, and it's been boggling my mind a little bit on how skewed or how relationship, another soapy kind of show that I watched recently was Bridgerton, relationship traditionally, or marriage traditionally, had nothing to do with love. Zero things to do with love. It had to do with, are they come from a good family? Is it a good name? Can they provide financially? Do they have a dowry? Are they attractive enough that are they too old? Are they too young? So it was like a checklist. And so that's, I think, in a lot of ways, how I viewed relationship. And sometimes because of that, I was like on the checklist. Well, they got like, I don't know, 60%, 70%. Yeah, that's good enough. That's enough checks to give it a go, without, are they attractive? Are they sexy? Are they a good kisser? Are they like, do they make good money? Money was never really a big motivator to me, but, obviously, are they employed to a certain extent would be on the list. Because of that, because of this, like, you take generational trauma where passed on from generation to generation, there is this lack of love, lack of empathy, lack of understanding. And then you throw into the mix these British ideals, and I'm sure it's not just British, there's many other countries that would have these ideals towards a relationship as a business transaction, much more so than like a love story. And what you have is a whole bunch of people that get into relationship with people that they have no business being in relationship with, but and then they stay staunch in these relationships because the old ideals of, you should never get divorced or separate or anything like that, because that's a bad thing, because the church would look bad down on you. So let's add the element of the church into the mix, and add an element of societal pressure as well. And what you have is a whole bunch of people in society all over the place in really crappy relationships who are miserable, leaving a wake of destruction in their midst. And, I can see this definitely in my own life, that because I was in a relationship that I should have been out of, a lot of people got damaged, in part because of it. My son most certainly was damaged with me staying in a dysfunctional marriage for as long as I did. He endured many abuses that he shouldn't have, being raged at frequently. And I always tried to protect him, but I know that I failed in that, and I have to take ownership for that. In staying for something that I had settled for originally, it wasn't just my own destruction. More people were hurt because of it, particularly my son. I would say there are probably others in the mix, and I won't speak for them, but and in my first marriage, I left a wake of destruction because I had used, sexuality as a saboteur technique to get myself out of the marriage, instead of being able to communicate clearly. Listen, I'm not happy. I want out. And so a lot of other people were involved, and that didn't need to be hurt or didn't need to be brought into it. And I see this happening, and in watching The Crown, it just kind of like hit really hard home, like a fry pan on the top of the head, how destructive being in a dysfunctional marriage is to everyone, to absolutely everyone. And it's almost... it's a sickness relationship is how I see it, because if you look at The Crown as an example, and I know that I'm sure the Netflix story veers slightly here and there and took many liberties, but the facts are the facts in regards to certain things. First you have a king that abdicates the throne for love, causing absolute shock, horror, and being shunned out of his family, out of his country, because he chose to actually follow his heart as opposed to stay within the confines and the constructs of the way relationship was established. And then you have Princess Margaret, who was not allowed to marry the love of her life, her true love, which, caused a wake of destruction behind her and from her, because, her heart never recovered from that. And then you have this absolutely abhorrent marriage between Charles and Diana. Funnily enough, I was in England when they got married, back when I was a child, but that should never have happened, because the wake of destruction that was left because Charles was ultimately in love with another woman the entire time he was married, and that woman being Camilla. And because of that, the story paints it like, well, at least at long last, the star-crossed lovers are finally allowed to be together. But, look at all the devastation and the damage that occurred because they weren't allowed to be together, because they chose to go separate ways and stay in dysfunctional relationship, or even marry into not a loving, they were in love. He was in love with somebody else, and he married Diana. And that hits really hard for me, because those that have been watching me know that the confession that I received from my husband, my ex-husband, was that he was never in love with me. He was in love with another woman the entire time. And that devastated me. That absolutely devastated me. And the nuance of that has not been forgotten, has not been put down, you know. I actually feel a lot of empathy for him, in the sense that if you have met your twin flame, or met your soulmate, or met the woman that you love, or man, and you fall madly in love with somebody, and you can't be with them for whatever reason, they don't want you, or they're in another relationship, or, you know, whatever reason, and you carry this love with you, society says, well, get over it, move on, try somebody else, settle, you know, settle for something else. And so I was not only the one that was the settling, like he settled for me. I don't know his motivation. I think his motivation was a little bit more insidious and nasty at play. I think there was a lot of narcissistic and cruelty that came into the mix. But just let's throw that off to the side for a minute and say, okay, let's just take the fact that he didn't love me, but he married me anyways. And I'm going to take my responsibility in that and say, I knew I was settling because I hadn't found anyone else. And I was like, this is the first person that's come along that's love bombed the crap out of me. And must be what love is. So I'm going to go ahead with this. And because of that, there's this wake of destruction. And as I say, the nuance isn't lost on me, because I now am in love with somebody and I can't be with them. They're happy in their own relationship. And I've been sitting with this, and sitting with this, and sitting with this. And another piece of the puzzle that comes into this is that devastating blow. My mother said to me when I cut her off and had asked for a divorce in the first place, when I had called her and said, listen, I think I want a divorce. And she said, well, that's about the stupidest thing you could ever do, because no one will ever love you. And so all these little pieces of the puzzle was like being bashed in the face a good few, many times. And so I did the responsible thing, and upon my separation, spent it's much longer than a year now of being single. Like, I've been single, technically, I suppose I've been single since asking for my divorce back in 2021. But the divorce decree was finalized a year ago. And so it's been a good long while of just sitting with self, and just sitting in my mess, and trying to take ownership within my mess of where I should have seen signs and should have seen flags and didn't, and where I myself made my own mistakes, you know. I definitely can take ownership of my own mistakes in this. You know, I should have, I should never have moved in with them. Instead, I should have kept my own house originally. I was in a much better position then financially. I should have seen the signs. I should, you know, like there's a million I should have. I'm not going to beat myself up for the should-haves, but I want to identify my should-haves so that I won't ever do these things again. You know, it's learning from them. So I've been learning to forgive myself through this awakening process of the mistakes that I've made, not only in this relationship, but all relationships that I've attempted in the past. And I want to learn so that I never make these mistakes again. And what I've learned from this culmination of weird connections, weird puzzle pieces fitting together, is that I personally have come to a place that I don't think that I'll ever actually date again. And so I've been grieving that. And I know a lot of people would say, oh, don't give up. And there's, you're young and whatever. The fact is, I can't do something ethically that I deemed somebody else's actions to be wrong and inappropriate. And I wish that had I known that my ex was in love with somebody else the entire time, I wish that I had had that piece of the information way back when. And then obviously I would have been like, good luck to you. I hope you get what you're looking for and peace out. Like I would not have made relationship with him. So because of this weird awakening, this weird twin flame journey, this phenomenon, I see both sides of things now. It's like I see the karma and I see the lesson, and I'm not going to do what was done to me. I'm not going to leave another wake of destruction behind me. And so in actuality, I believe, even though she meant it in a twisted and mean kind of way, I believe my mother was, in a sense, prophetic and in saying the truth, that there will be no one else. And ouch, that one fucking hurts to process and deal with. Does that mean to say that I am like 100% like, no, it'll never happen? I've learned not to be, completely... I've learned that spirit will redirect you. And so there's 0 point in trying to be like, I'm never going to this or I'm never going to that. But I can say that as long as there is love in my heart for one person, I am not going to involve other people, because that would be a hurt that I would not want to put upon anyone else after my experience with it. So I feel like spirit is nudging me. And listen, I've been wrong before. We've seen me flip-flop all over the shop when it came to my house. Like, should I stay? Should I go? Should I stay? Should I go? Spirit's meaning me to go. Spirit's wanting me to let go of this house. Spirit's wanting me to stay in this house. Like, we've seen that cuckoo. So I'm trying not to do the exact same extreme thinking of being black and white. But I'm at the same time accepting what I'm being shown, and accepting that I need to let go of everything I've ever thought of relationship in regards to this checklist and transaction. Everything I've ever thought of sexuality, because now I see sexuality as the most sacred thing ever. Like, my body is that's one of the greatest blessings of celibacy. It is the purification of your connection to your own body. And aside from tattoo artists, nobody gets access to this. It really, it grosses me out to no extent to think of anything other than sacred connection. And that means connecting on every single level. So it would have to be, because of this no settling rule, it would have to be somebody that has, divine connection at the root chakra, divine connection at the solar plexus, sacral, solar plexus, heart, higher heart, throat, third eye, and then crown. So the likelihood of that happening, to I know how weird I am. I know how unique I am. I know. I am 52 now, and now I'm even weirder than I was. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in a really magical way. I don't resonate with most people in a way that would find that kind of connection. And I would never ever want to hurt another human again and be like, yeah, I love you 70% and you fit this bill and this bill and this bill. We'll make a go of it just because I'm lonely, or just because I'm horny, or just because I'm, want somebody to travel with, and a companion. Yet, no, 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 no. I just don't want any more destruction. I just don't want any more destruction at all. It would be amazing to me in society if, and maybe that's what this journey is in part about, because I'm in touch with hundreds of twins out there that have reached me this way or that way, mostly through social media and stuff like that. It would be amazing to me to see how different the world would be if people extracted themselves out of these dysfunctional, narcissistic, toxic situations, where ultimately both people, as long as they're participating in it, you can't just say one is a perpetrator and one is a victim, because I stayed, making me equally a perpetuator of the wreckage behind me. It was my job to protect my son, and I failed. I 100% failed at that. And that's my own karmic mess to clean up in this situation, and I'm doing that. I'm doing that, and I won't ever do it again. So accepting myself as myself, and non-relationship, in choosing non-relationship moving forward, in no way, shape, or form settling. I'm altering and shutting down the dynamic that is relationship dysfunction, and breaking the cycle. And that's what I do. I break cycles. So yes, I'm allowing myself to grieve the loss of relationship, is what I've been allowing myself to do. And it's weird. It's going to isolate me even more, which is funny because, not funny, haha, but like funny, weird. The more you free yourself, the more alone you become, because the less you are resonating in an energy that a lot of other people would get. When you stop drinking, you stop hanging around with drinkers, and drinkers look at you like, why don't you drink? When you stop doing pharmaceuticals, and you don't resonate in that same energy, then everybody else is like, what do you mean you're not on any pharmaceuticals? What do you mean you feel your feelings? In fact, it makes people uncomfortable to feel your feelings when everybody else isn't feeling their feelings. So that isolates you. And when you step away from certain communities and say, no, I'm not doing that anymore either, then they're like, the normal reaction is, like, Why are you doing that? And so now if I've pulled away from behaviors, and now I'm pulling away from the construct of relationship as it has been known to me, is going to make me even weirder. So it is. So it is. It is what it is. Accepting what is part of this huge journey. I don't know. Maybe I'm becoming a monk. It's not what I would have asked for or wanted, but at least I can't hurt anyone that way. Peace. In.